Hello, good morning, and good afternoon to my Texas and East Coast folks. It is me, J. Michelle Robinson, for those of you who do not know me, CEO, founder of Just Here to Help. Help meaning helping everyone live prosperously. Thank you for tuning in to my broadcast today. We are still celebrating Life Insurance Awareness Month. The month of September has been designated as Life Insurance Awareness Month. And so for those of you who know me, you know that I am a wealth and life strategist. And I just so happen to be a licensed life insurance producer. And so this month I have committed to coming on here every single day to talk to you about life insurance, because this is what I am finding out, and my colleagues can attest to this. A lot of people don't know what life insurance is, and they certainly don't know what it does. So let's get into our topic today, which is how much life insurance do you really need? Okay, let me start off by saying this. When you are going to embark on the journey, the very important journey, and make the decision to get life insurance, you need to sit down with a professional, with an expert, and do a needs analysis. I think that from a historical standpoint, because we just do certain things because that's all we know and that's what we've been taught to do, we just come up with a random number in our mind. I believe that a lot of folks, especially in the African American culture, probably think that getting a $100,000 life insurance policy is doing something big. Okay, think that is like that's doing something great. And the reason why that is because unfortunately, many of us have not amassed or ever had $100,000, as a lump sum in our lifetime. So a life insurance policy of $100,000 seems like a lot of money for a beneficiary to receive. I'm going to be real with you. $100,000 is not a lot of money. It's not. 100,000. No, okay, let me back up and say this. Everybody should have the basic amount to take care of your final expenses. If I were to say, give you a number of a minimum amount, and I'm being generous because some of my colleagues would probably say something higher, minimum amount you should have is $25,000, minimum. Because that will take care of all of your funeral expenses. It will ensure that you are able to have a nice repast. $25,000 will send you off in style. We could do a decent homegoing celebration, stress-free, with $25,000. So at a basic minimum, you need $25,000. However, if you have people who depend on your income, you need to take all of that into consideration. You need to take into consideration any debt that you may have. When you think about how much life insurance you need, all of these different things need to be considered. Do you have children under the age of 18? How long will it be before they are 18? Were you planning on paying for them to go to college? Do you have a mortgage? All of those things, and that's not everything, but those things need to be taken into consideration. I'm just going to give you a few different examples, and then if you want to set up a consultation with me, I really would encourage you to do so. But listen to this. If you were to get a $50,000 life insurance policy, now remember, I said the minimum amount is $25,000 because honestly, in today's world, and then things are getting higher and higher, costs are going up. $25,000 is the minimum that you should have. If you get a $50,000 life insurance policy and your family spends $25,000 for last expenses, the amount remaining would be $25,000. Okay? Your family would have $263 of monthly income for 10 years. They needed to stretch out income. If this is being used for income replacement, they would have $263 a month. What is $263? $263 a month. I can't even hardly say it, because what is somebody gonna do with $263 a month? Okay, maybe buy some groceries. But that's all that policy would do as it relates to substituting your income. $263 a month for 10 years. If they needed to live off of that for 20 years, let's say, and let me give this a very real example, because I have people who I am attached to, colleagues that I know, where one of the spouses do not work. They do not bring in any type of income, so they are dependent upon one single income in the family. If that person dies and that income goes away, with the $50,000 life insurance policy, you're going to have $163 a month for 20 years. $132 a month for 30 years. $50,000 life insurance policy. Let's look at what a lot of people consider to be the cream of the crop, $100,000 life insurance policy. If you spend $25,000 in the funeral expenses, your beneficiary is going to be left with $75,000. That's a lot better than $25,000. They would have $788 of monthly income for 10 years, $488 a month for 20 years, and $396 of monthly income if it needed to be stretched out for 30 years. Okay, that's $100,000. Now, let's look at $250,000. And that is probably the number that I would say is the least amount of life insurance a person should have that's trying to leave something behind for their family. $25,000 just to cover your death expenses. But if you are trying to leave something behind for your family, my opinion is that $250,000 is the least amount of death benefit that you should have. If you have $250,000 worth of death benefit, $25,000 is spent on funeral expenses, then your beneficiary is left with $225,000. In that case, there would be $2,365 a month that would be able to come in and last for 10 years. If it needed to stretch for 20 years, $1,465. If it needed to stretch for 30 years, $1,188. The reason why that I believe, again, this is my personal opinion, that $250,000 is the minimum if you're really trying to do something beyond a death benefit, is because at least with those numbers, 2,365, 1,465, 1,188, I can see, depending on what geographical area you live in, I can see a mortgage being paid. I can see rent being paid with that amount of monthly income. I cannot see that with $396, $132, $163, $488. I don't see that. Okay. So if there was a sweet spot, at a minimum, I would say get $250,000 worth of life insurance. $500,000. $500,000 life insurance. Death, if funeral expenses are $25K, family's going to be left with $475. Monthly for 10 years, $4,992. Okay, now your beneficiary can take care of the mortgage and doesn't necessarily have to, just depending on what type of lifestyle you had, still would be able to pay for daycare, still be able to do certain things like that. It really just depends on your lifestyle. And that's the thing that you have to keep in mind too, is what lifestyle changes would have to be made if you passed away for your beneficiary. Was your beneficiary, now they done lost their spouse, their parent, whoever the case is, that income is now gone, they're grieving, would they also have to drastically change their lifestyle as well? These are things that need to be considered when you start talking about how much life insurance is needed. If you want to be 100 about it, when you start looking at how much life insurance is needed for income replacement, you need to be looking at what your annual salary is and multiplying that by the number of years that your beneficiary would need to depend on that income. So for someone like me, we have our youngest child is 12. And so that's 6 years of income. I think I would need at least over $1 million life insurance policy. And a lot of times when you hear somebody say $1 million, you're thinking that's some grandiose number. It's really not. In the bigger scheme of things, it's not. Those of you who are earning six figures, $1 million policy is not grandiose. It's not. For those of you who are making even $50,000, $60,000 a year, that's what I'm saying. $100,000 policy is not a lot. So I've been on here long enough. If you would like more information, if you would like to do a needs analysis about how much life insurance you would need, and we're talking about just income protection here. We're not talking about all the living benefits and leveraging life insurance. If you would like more information, if you would like to do a needs assessment, please contact me. Go to my website, www.justheretohelp.com, or you can email me at jonte@jmichelle.com. You can also text me at 503-908-9050. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and you all have a fabulous, fabulous day. I'll see you tomorrow.